All right, welcome back to seminary. It's been a little bit. I was I was extremely busy, okay? Um I wasn't really. If anyone ever tells you they're extremely busy, they're not. They're lying. I believe that's almost always true. Anyone who tells you I'm 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 busy. I'm really busy, especially if they add extra emphasis on it. They go, "I'm extremely busy. I'm really busy. I'm busy with three U's and busy." I don't believe them. Um, but yeah, I thought I was gonna have things figured out, sort of, and then I was just a guy living in a camper with no electricity, and I'm working on it though. I'm gonna get the trailer fixed up. I've been working on it for a couple weeks, and I'm gonna have I had to look at different things. Turned out it was the GFI, so I fixed that. I didn't really fix it. I took it out though, and just kind of left the wires hanging there. But yeah, yeah. Um. Anyway, still gonna be recording on the phone, and we'll have a better setup figured out soon. But mostly, I just had to go through and get some things organized because I had to realize nobody is gonna be effective helping the glorious future organizing Atlantis 2 unless they're effective in organizing their own lives and being efficient there. So I didn't figure that out either, but I'm working on it, getting more efficient. You shouldn't be giving anybody. A lot of people already are giving fucking advice and shit who uh are not qualified to do so, and I've been guilty of that many times. But what I am doing here is giving out ideas and some ways I think things could go, and I believe that they will be helpful. And I believe it's necessary because we're running out of time, people. We got 9 days. We got 9 days until one of the most important days of the year. You know what that is? It's my mother's birthday. It's my mother's birthday, and you don't fucking forget it. November 4th. Wish her a happy birthday. Um, yeah, there's that, and there's a lot of serious stuff going on. A lot of people are gonna be fired up. It's gonna be an exciting time. You got to get out. You got to get out there, and you know what I mean. You gotta do what they say you gotta do. Yes, I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to show off my fashion, everybody, but this is a real vote or die shirt from 2004 from the I forget what it's called. I should know. It's the People's Citizen Change Movement, November 2nd, 2004, made by Sean John, and the Sean stands for Sean P Diddy Combs because you know, and I think a lot of stuff. If you go back and you look at the Diddy MTV Vote or Die campaign from 2004, I think a lot of stuff he was talking about it there. Of course, it's going to be very applicable today. And a lot of people, a lot of the youth, a lot of the people in our communities, they feel disenfranchised. They don't feel like these politicians are uh, are representing them, and they feel like everyone, all these politicians, all these people in the entertainment industries, are sort of all you know connected, and they feel like they're just a bunch of evil, you know, pedophiles and shit who kind of sold them out. But that's you know that's not the citizen change movement. We're gonna change that by interviewing Hillary Clinton. Um, Yeah, go watch those interviews. They're fun. And yeah. Um maybe it's a reason to feel a little disenfranchised on. Maybe it's a reason to to this is my idea of how I think, uh because I've wasted a lot of time going through different things, and like it's fun. Like we were talking about in the last episode, which go listen to the last episode if you haven't, because I don't know, sometimes I won't be putting out an episode and doing all that stuff because I feel like I'm like, oh, I don't have anything like, just let me pause this for a second. All right, sorry about that. There are some people walking by. You never know people. Never know what they're doing. They could just be hikers. They could be listening in. You gotta change the subject. Um, Stay paranoid. That's another. That's I will give you that advice. Gotta stay paranoid these days. Um, but yeah, sometimes I don't put up an episode because I'm like, I don't know if they're that good. If I have anything to say, then I went and listen. I went and listened to the last episode we did, and well, definitely with all the a lot of the solo episodes I've done, I listen to it and I go, ugh. But recently, I don't know about solo episodes, but the last one, Anthony Aragon, it's called "The Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars" Part 1A. I listened to it and I said, no, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. There were a few things I do need to go over that. There were a few things that I made a mistake on. The people who yell at people, I'm not gonna say what kind of people. There were black people. They were yelling. They had a little stand and they were yelling at people on the street. People I was talking about in that situation are black Israelites who they think they're the real Jews, and that I'm pretty sure that's their deal. And they tell you about it. I don't know much else about them. What else do I need to correct? Also want to take back possibly what I said about Galahad Eridanus and how he's like, I don't see a use for money. And I'm all, you know, I'm just telling you about it and I'm all enlightened because I think he actually might be enlightened. I've been watching a lot more of his stuff, and you know, go check out his channel. He might be onto some shit. And I watched an interview with him too on CTMU. What was it called? It's probably the only interview with him. You find it; it's out there. I'll put it in the description. But yeah, that's about that. All there is from last episode. But go check that out. That was a good one. Anyway, that's been something I've been thinking about. Have I been procrastinating? Or once in a while, do you need to take the time? You gotta go through and find that line with yourself. Like, am I procrastinating, or do I just need once in a while? It's good not to take action all the time. You gotta rethink things, but then you don't want to go back through and just be like analyzing shit so much you don't get anything done. It's like where's that quote? Life can only be lived. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Life can only be lived uh life can only be seen clearly backwards, but it can only be lived forward. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. I should. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. That was Soren Kierkegaard. I don't know anything about him, but you go look into him. He said that anyway. That's something. Um, but yeah, that's I think it's good to do sometimes if you can differentiate between procrastination and actually like taking time to reassess things and come back at it in a better way. Um, yeah. But it is time. It is time. Things are going to heat up. We got to start taking action. Go check out the Atlantis 2 Discord. Also, I'm going to be posting more stock stuff in there. What I will say about the stock stuff is like, I'm going to put my ideas in there and we can all talk about our ideas. But mostly what I would say is I'm not going to be in there like all the time. Just go watch Camel Finance. That guy's been doing it way longer than I have, and he's been right most of the time. And when he's not, he's straightforward about it. There's a lot of fucking scammers and bullshit on YouTube, but I've been watching his channel for a while, and it's legit. So go watch that. Go or just watch his weekend deep dives. But he puts out videos every day. They're pretty good. But yeah, what was I talking about? Reassessing things, getting your electricity fixed. But that's also something I was thinking about too, is like I didn't even know what, I still don't know, but like sometimes you just view the world at like a base level, or like just the outer version of it, where you're like electricity goes through the thing, it makes the light go on. And then you dig a little deeper and you're like, actually, I don't understand what electricity is or how it works. And yeah, I don't know if that's helpful actually, but yeah. It's like when you're like, oh, you see the news and it's like rate cuts and blah blah blah, and you like kind of understand what it does, but then I never like, so at first I wouldn't do the research to be like, oh, what are they actually deciding and how much are they actually changing things? How much behind the curve on fixing this stuff are they? What's the effect going to be? Um. Anyway, what was I going to talk about after that? Yeah, I'm jumping around a lot. I'm getting between topics. That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of big things coming up. 9 days for my mother's birthday, and the election, and a lot of it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be an interesting time, and what we need to do is see how can we profit from this. How can we benefit from this? Too many people are looking at it and they're caught up in that and not in their own lives and what they can do. And as it said in Quiet Weapons for Silent Wars, they're trying to get you distracted from what matters to your own life on highly fabricated outside priorities. They're trying to get you looking at one uh they're trying to get you fired up about your one vote and trying to argue with a bunch of other people um that are it's probably useless to argue with, and um they're trying to waste your time and steal your energy. Um because most people are just going to argue and they're not going to get anything out of it for that's going to benefit themselves or their families. And on another level, this has actually gotten to the point where it's like people will put politicians above, or at least at the same level as like relationships in like their family, or like people they actually know. Like people will dislike you just because dislike someone they actually know just because of a politician who they know nothing about and is in my opinion probably evil. um and when instead we could be breaking this apart and we could be looking at how can we profit from this. I should have written down some of the ways I think we could profit from this, but I'll just go through a few of my ideas. First, I got a little bit of money on Trump. That's an easy way. I don't encourage gambling too much, but I think if you have uh good data to base it on, and you have good odds. I locked in some good odds like 6 months ago, but I'm thinking about putting a little more in, because if you look at like what do other countries think about all his tariff stuff and how they were going to put up factories in like Mexico and stuff to build cars. Now they're not building those factories anymore. A lot of other countries seem to think Trump is going to win. And then just a lot of stuff that would go up if there's more deregulation seems to be going up. Then like there's also the position to be taken where if you're looking to position yourself, as far as in the market for after the election, which I kind of agree with, that Camel says, you know, the market and the cycles are in control, not the people who they put as the characters running the show. And that whoever gets in, they're going to make a narrative to fit why this is happening in the market. Trump gets in and they go, oh, of course, deregulation and all the taxes, and of course the market's going to go up. Trump gets in and it crashes, and they go, oh, of course they set it up so it crashed when Trump gets in. Or Kamala gets in and it crashes, and they go, oh, of course she's a communist or whatever. Or she gets in and it rallies, because I don't actually know why it would rally. I'm not trying to take a side here, but the truth is the truth. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's many reasons that things would look good financially if she got in. $5,000 for small businesses, though, that's something. That's something. Yeah. But they'll have some sort of narrative for whatever it is, or same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin rallies, and they'll be like, oh, it's because Trump's gonna deregulate this, and try and backs whatever they say with it, and that's why Bitcoin will go up. Or he's gonna RFK wants to back the Trump want to back the dollar in there, whatever they say. But or Kamala gets in and they go, oh, people are scared now and they're gonna run to Bitcoin as a safe place to be. So it's but one thing, one trade I think that would be really good, and I'm going to look into. Ideally, I would get into it when it's lower, and I would get in later. Is the VIX, and that I have been posting about that in the latest too. Discord. I think the VIX is going to be a huge, huge trade whenever just before SPY starts to top. And if we get one final push down on the VIX, I want to get in on that full size and see what we can do there. But whether or not it crashes, or what I would more expect with Bitcoin and the market during the election, is just a short little dip around that time. That's when it's based on the cycles. That's when it's supposed to happen anyway. And I would just look to play some VIX or some VIX calls for a week or two in there. And I think that could be big, because there's just going to be a lot of volatility going into it. And yeah, I think you can make some money there. So that's something to look into. Obviously, you can't actually trade the VIX, but UVXY or whatever, there's a bunch of stuff you can trade based on it. So I would probably be looking. I haven't really looked into it yet, but I was gonna do that tomorrow. I just kind of ended up talking about this. Let's see. VIX or UVXY. Oh, I probably should have got in last week and just gone like 3 weeks out or whatever. But I would probably still look at like November 8th or even November 15th calls, or a little mix Right now, I'd probably go for November. What's it at right now? We're at UVXY is at 29, and maybe it goes up to like this past spot it topped at. Let's say it goes up to $31. So I don't think that's too risky. No, calls, $31 call. Dang, those are kind of expensive. But yeah. Depends how much money you got, but I might buy a November 8th, $31 call. I think something like that could be a good move. So yeah, anyway. That's the mindset that I think would be helpful to most people. Is not like, how can I argue uselessly with my friends and family, but how can I profit off of this? It's time to get fucking greedy. These people don't care about you. It's time for you to I shouldn't say that. I'm here to give ideas, not advice. But it's time for me start playing the game, not to be the hell, where'd the video go? There we go. People gotta see. People gotta see my original. I didn't actually pay that much for it. It's $20 on eBay. It's a pretty good deal. But yeah, it's just weird, and I feel like there's a lot of highly fabricated outside priorities taking our attention, and it's interesting. I would like to look into it more. It's like, it's definitely good to know. Like, my uncle sent me this thing about Kamala and how she's covered up who her grandpa actually is or something, and Candace Owens has a thing on it. That's what it was on, which I think is pretty factual. I don't yeah. Um and it's good to know that, but at a certain point I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through this, I'm gonna take some notes, I'm gonna figure out what the whole family line is here. And then I was like, oh, this isn't actually useful to me. I should start looking at ways I can benefit myself. Here's something I couldn't help but look into a little bit though. Which is, let's see. Oh, did I not bring that in? We're just going to talk a little bit about AIPAC. Formally, this is something that I feel like most people view politics as like, who's my favorite character in the game, or like, and like it's a show, and they're like, I hate Trump, or like, fuck Kamala, like she's my least favorite character, and they don't actually like look at what these people do, and or like where the money is going, where the people are dying at. Um, the thing that has really bothered me lately is the people who the people who don't who think there should be less guns because of school shootings, but support people who are in office that are giving weapons to countries that are killing kids. I'm not going to say what countries, but um, and not only that, but are accepting money from those countries. That country, I should say. I saw like I saw a thing Benny Paz posted, and I was like, that's actually a good point. That's pretty. And people get all fucking sad and hurt about it, and like, oh, like you shouldn't talk about it like that. People shouldn't be allowed to talk about that stuff. That really bothers me. I don't really have. I don't. I wish them well, and I might see if I can have those people on. Um, and try not to be, and I'll try not to be too mean about it. But it's like there's this whole it's maybe I'll talk about that later, but it's weird. But I saw a thing Vinny Paz posted that was like, if you like school shooters, you'll love school bombers, and it was like all the politicians, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. You have I should do like more of like a deep dive on this and like really research it, but just has never made sense to me the whole October 7th thing, that you have a country that has like super advanced technology, shoots rockets out the sky, um a ton of money, and somehow they let, I shouldn't say they let, but somehow guys in fucking paragliders come in and start shooting people. And then they go, "Oh, we were attacked, and now we have to go kill 40,000 civilians." Um, yeah, yeah, that's it's interesting. Anyway, let's just I'll just focus on the facts here. Um, a Formerly the American Zionist Council, AIPAC, which stands for the American Israeli. I always forget this. Where is it at? Come on. The American Israeli. Come on, come on. The crazy thing is you can just go to their website and they like brag about all this shit. You can go to apac.org. Keeping America safe and Israel strong. Oh, it's probably over here. What is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee? There we go. But it's the one any other country would have to register under FARA, under the FARA Act, which is, let me make sure I'm getting this right, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. So, the Foreign Agents Registration Act is a United States law that imposes public disclosure obligations on persons representing foreign interests. It requires foreign agents defined as individuals or entities engaged in domestic lobbying or advocacy for foreign governments, organizations, or persons, foreign principals, to register with the Department of Justice and disclose their relationships, activities, and related financial compensation. Now, any country that wanted to give millions of dollars to politicians, or any agent that any person that wanted to do that from another country, would have to register under there, and they'd have to show the receipts. They'd have to show where all the money is coming from, and all of that. It's one country that doesn't have to do that, and that's Israel. And when they were almost forced to do it in 1963 by JFK, he ended up dying a little bit later, and then we stopped hearing about it, which was kind of, the video turn off again. What the hell is going on? Um. Anyway, which I'm not saying it was. There were a lot of factors. I have no idea what happened in the JFK assassination. There was a lot of stuff going on there, but that's something to consider. That's a weird coincidence. All right. So they don't have to register on behalf of a foreign actor, as someone acting on behalf of a foreign actor. All right, here's some fun facts. 14.5 million contributed to pro-Israel candidates this year, and 98% of AIPAC backed candidates won in a general election. And these are just like stuff they throw out and brag about on their website. Um, so the single most influential big money group in Democratic electoral politics, and that's another quote from their website, single most influential big money group in Democratic electoral politics is not registered, even though the U.S. Justice Department requires the registration of anyone who represents the interests of a foreign principal before any agency or official of the U.S. government. If they were to register, they would just have to disclose where all their money is coming from, and they would have a lot more. What else do I have here? Oh, what is FARA? Oh, that's what I read already. But yeah, they don't want all the regulations that come with registering. Anyway, that's just weird. And I don't really know enough to continue to talk about how Israel was formed and what's going on with it, nor is it really beneficial to us. But it's just so weird to me that I don't think most people know that all our politicians are getting money from AIPAC, and they're allowed to do that for some reason. And I'm not going to read through the entire list. You can go read through the list yourself, but I'll read through a couple pages of it. You can go to a website called opensecrets.org and look at the pro-Israel recipients. Or I think you just look up. I looked it up on DuckDuckGo. Maybe you can look it up on a regular browser, but I look up what politicians received money from AIPAC, and it goes through by ones who received the most money. Number 1, Joe Biden, Democrat, 4,229,000. Menendez, Robert, New Jersey, that's 2,501,000. Hillary Clinton, Democrat, New York, 2,358,000. Mark Kirk, Illinois, 2,294,000. Lieberman Joe, Democrat, Connecticut, Mark Kirk was a Republican. Connecticut, 1,998,000. Mitch McConnell, Republican, Kentucky, 953,000. All right, I'll stop reading through it, but you can go look through these yourselves. I haven't looked through more than like 4 pages. Trump might be on there. I don't think he is. I should look through it all. I'll let you know next episode. But Kamala's on there. She's already received a little over 500,000. And yeah, it's just weird that they can brag about like paying off our politicians to get them to do what they want. And who knows what would happen if they didn't take the money. Also, I should say that like there's people like Rabbi Shmuley, who are like, oh, Trump is the greatest person we've ever had in the White House for Israel. So I'm not. Who knows? It's just weird that people are like, I guess they don't know it, but they're like so accepting that like there's another government that's allowed to pay off our politicians. And maybe that's a good reason to start focusing on the community around you more and not, and vote for you. That's what I'm saying. Instead of giving all this attention away. So yeah, let's see. Oh, I was gonna go into the whole. I'll go back to that. I've been jumping all around, but I'll go back to that. I recently, you know what? I'll save that for later, actually. we'll wrap this up and talk a little bit about plans for Atlantis 2. I was trying to figure out like how to organize what I'm doing so I make sure it goes in the right direction, which I think I'll just need more experience to do. Um, but I was kind of going through because the I feel like it's a really important thing to do is like define you're what you're okay with, what you're trying to do, and what you're okay with losing, and what you're okay with not losing in getting there, and what you're okay with doing morally. Because if you start being like, I'll just break my rules one time, and whatever you're doing to get somewhere, then you're not respectable. That's addict sort of behavior, and and you're gonna end up in a bad situation eventually. Um, so I don't know that stuff like this is useful, but I was thinking through and I was trying to organize things. So this is just something to think about. So far I had organized it, and it might be too complicated to be useful to think about this and go, all right, what is the aspiration? What are we trying to accomplish? Then define your morals and risk and reward. Then you want performance based goals. I think that's really important. That's something um is like you should, for me anyway, I feel like if I just get up every morning and I do what I'm supposed to do, regardless of the results will come. If I was like, oh, I want to make $1 million by next year, I probably don't have that good a chance of doing it. And also, even if I do, I'm not really going to be that much better for it. But if I'm like, I want to be a more disciplined person, I probably have a lot better chance of having those results come to me, and I probably am a lot better for it. Um, anyway, performance based goals, then you need a contingency plan, and then you need a decision of what action you're going to take to get there. Then you have your results based goals and your results, and then you kind of repeat it back through the cycle. Um, from your results to your decision for your next action and your goals to get results. But it's not like I'm gonna go through that every decision I make, but I think it's important to have in the background is like, what am I trying to accomplish long term? If you put your long term thinking first of like, what am I trying to do in 5 years? Not only are you gonna like do better in 5 years, but you're probably gonna do better today. If you're not, you're probably gonna make less stupid decisions if you have your and if you're confident in where you're going to be in 5 years, which is the glorious future. And I want to have, we'll figure out how to set it up. Maybe it'll be more than a week away, but, and I don't know how many people are listening to this that would come on, or I'll post about it, but I think maybe what would that be? Sunday, the 3rd. Maybe that night we could have the first um, open to the public Atlantis Congress meeting, kind of discuss what we should be about, and then kind of start to set up some rough goals for Agenda 2030 of uh, of more results goals of like what we want to have accomplished by 2030. Um, so yeah, we'll set that up, and yeah, because I think it's time to get things moving. Start playing this in a serious way. And let's see. All right, I think that's about it. I could have things more organized, but I don't feel like that would actually help to be like, all right, for 20 minutes I'll talk about this. Um so yeah, there were some things that were kind of all over the place. But I kind of want to talk about the whole uh what I was where I was going with the whole. It's just like I don't understand, and I want to save this for later when I can go over it better, but I just don't understand where people are coming from with like uh well, hmm, I just feel like I started to go into the whole, us sending money to Israel to do all this stuff. Um and then I uh didn't really finish up there. But one, I want to say I'm not qualified in any way. I don't want to be one of these people who thinks they can solve the world's problems when they haven't solved any of their own. But it's just weird to me the mentality that's out there that um like the some of the people I've talked to that are like there should be more gun regulations, but they're not worried about the government. That, yeah, sure, it's happening in another country, but obviously they don't care about you. They have no regard for people's lives. There's they've sent weapons to Israel that have killed at least 10,000 children. Like they bombed schools and hospitals. Um and it's just weird reasoning, and that's one of the things I've been thinking about. That's like where are, I just don't understand people's reasoning anymore sometimes. But I think I'll save that for another episode when I've thought that all through better. Um, what I will say is what I think my attitude should be, what I think would be helpful for a lot of people is I don't really want to argue with anyone about that type of stuff. I just want to say that's gay and a tank for every Atlantean, a tank for every Atlantean, because that's what we should be focused on. We should be focused on what we want in the glorious future, um not all this bullshit. Um, what else? There's something else I was gonna go over. I just paused it to think of it. What the hell is going on? That's what it was. I'll just go over my thoughts on, and I think we should maybe have a separate meeting for this every month for Atlantis too. But that's we gotta make some money, and I'm gonna go over my thoughts on how we should position ourselves for it, and then we can further discuss that on Discord and in the meeting. But I sold off all my physical gold and silver, and I agree with Camel that we're gonna head in, maybe not deflation, but possible for a little bit, and the market's gonna crash pretty soon, and um we're looking at a flight back to the dollar for briefly, and then so I sold all my gold and silver stocks, all my silver, and I just want to get as much cash as I can, and then maybe I don't know when it's going to be, but probably likely December-ish. Give a month or two, or maybe a little later. I want to be buying in heavy to metals, um, and then as of right now, I've kind of sold off the SPXL position, and I'm sure stock market I might add it back, but it might have a little bit more. Might be a little more gas left in the goose, but mostly I'm just gonna start to look at to add into an SPXS position and start to go short. Um, and then start to look to add a VIX position too. Um, that's my plan. Um, what else? What's the other thing? Bitcoin. Just watch Camel, but there's a lot of reasons to be in Bitcoin, and I think it's gonna do very well. One, because people don't really suspect it right now, and I think people have just been burnt out in this range, and I think there'll probably be a little dip around the election, and then I'm gonna look to add full size there and hopefully see it do really well, or else know where I'm gonna be cutting it, and I'll post that on the Discord. But I think that could be big. I think that could do 100%. And so I have some pretty good size into Bitcoin. If you look at the 1 month candles on Bitcoin for like the past year, this is really the first time it's broken out of this resistance. And I don't know, it looks pretty good. Um and just the M2 is going up. There's more money in supply, and also people are um people are looking to get out of other stuff, I think. And people, for some reason, it's always going to go when like the if you can figure out when the public isn't doesn't notice it, that's when it's going to start going. And then they're then if you can figure out, like, pretty sure this if I I'm pretty sure this is right. Um you should double check this, but when the most people are downloading Coinbase is usually when Bitcoin tops. Um but I think that could be big. I still own I also have a bunch of positions in Bitcoin miners. Um, and then I'm gonna look to add MicroStrategy's been doing great. That's probably the best thing I've ever bought. Um, so I'm just gonna hold that till the end. But around the November, um, when we get this next little dip, which I think we will around November 5th, I'm gonna look to go full size in Bitcoin miners using MSTU, which is MicroStrategy, but like a leverage version of it. And yeah, that's it. But I think that's kind of the plan financially for Atlantis too. We'll have other schemes and stuff going. But is if if you could get a few, I don't know the exact math right now, but you just go to a compounding interest calculator, and if it's like if you got a few, if you could get, like, I don't know, say we got 100 dedicated people that put in $1,000 account and we all figured out how to do 50% on it a year on average, we have a few million in 15 years or so. Or wait, we might have a lot more than that. I don't know. I can't comprehend compounding interest very well, or like people don't comprehend things moving. uh what's the word? There's linear, and then there's whatever the other thing is. Which one? It's what the hell? Oh, this is gonna bother me. It's too late. No, it's not. It's only like fucking 6:30. What the hell is wrong with me? What the hell is a word? Linear and exponentially. People can't comprehend things moving exponentially. So, you know, if we can figure that out, and I think I've been doing a lot better at it, and I think that's definitely possible to do those kind of numbers if things don't collapse, and then figure out, where we want to be with our accounts like that, and also where we want to get big ads and put a lot of money in gold and silver and Bitcoin and stuff like that over the coming years, and really make this happen. So you might as well do something, and I think this could be. I think this could be very. This could turn out very well. Anyway, I'll see you all in the glorious future. Thank you for listening, and yeah, planning on next Sunday we'll put up a little meeting, and then we'll do that at the beginning of every month, and we'll figure out what time works for most people. Yeah, Atlantis 2 forever.